A lot of reports are coming out of Japan from foreigners saying that they're not even allowed to go to certain shops, hotels, restaurants. There are signs in front of the door, and signs are saying no foreigners, no black people, no.
You are no longer welcome in Japan. Yeah, cancel that girls trip. You see, unfortunately, Japan, similar to many other countries right now, are entering a very far-right, anti-foreigner stage in their society right now. And well, they are absolutely taking it to the max. To be specific, this far-right movement within Japan has actually been sweeping the nation over the past year, but has only been amplified due to the influx of tourists. Now, Japan and many other Asian countries are infamous for not being too kind to foreigners, but there has been a mass increase of reports from foreigners within Japan detailing the increased racism that they are experiencing because of the rise of the far right.
Where are the Naruto fans and Sasuke? Is it Sasuke or something like that? All those anime, fanatics. Welcome back to the channel, my people. I do hope that from wherever you all are watching this from, you are doing all right, and hopefully God has protected you and preserved you very well. Thank you to all of you that support me on here. Big shout out to my members as well. They do me amazing. Yes, I started by talking about anime because Japan is best known for its anime. Yeah, all the anime shows that you guys watch, the beginning of anime is from Japan, and I know definitely it's a dream of so many Americans, Africans, Caribbeans, so many people, right, to visit Japan one day. But I think things are starting to change. There's quite a dynamic, as influenced by the politics of the country itself, that they are growing to be more distant and more hostile to foreigners, and they are starting to blame foreigners for the problems that are occurring in their country. And as a result, they pushing towards more of not allowing foreigners and tourists in their country. So I would like us to see some of the experiences and some of the, whistleblowers and what they have to say to you, just in case you want to visit Japan. During this period, especially this time when America is going through a lot of people want to travel, and probably Japan is part of, their travel destination. It's on their bucket list. I want us to look at some of these videos, responses, reactions. We'll come back and talk about it. Just do me a favor, like the video, don't forget to subscribe and share. I will be back.
日本の政治は日本人がやるんだ。多民族国家にするつもりはありません。ね、日本の政治は日本人がやります。いいですか？はい。もちろん外国の方に来てもらって一緒に働いてもらうのはいいでしょう。がしかし日本の政治は日本人がやるんだ。だから皆さんね、ちゃんと選挙に行きましょうね。今どんどん外国の方増えてますからね、外国人参政権我々反対ですけど、でも与えるとかいうことも出てます。ですからしっかりと日本人が政治に参加することが大事です。
Do people in Japan dislike tourists?
I would say Japan is a very racist country. Not to generalize, it's too different from the world, right? And a lot of people don't want to accept this difference. Especially Japanese people, I think they tend to protect their own space. So most critical is that you don't invade in this space that they're protecting, and that's the main irritation that tourists bring into Japan. I'm currently working as a tour guide in Osaka. I've been talking to a lot of local Japanese business owners, and a lot of them explain that it takes much more effort to serve a foreigner than a Japanese local that always knows the rules, right? So this is a big service cost that they have when it comes to restaurants as well.
What's an example of rules that foreigners does not or cannot follow?
One is food culture is very different. Japan often has this culture that if you order something, you gotta finish it up. But if you go to a very local ramen shop, they sometimes punish you for not eating the whole ramen, right? So there's actually one ramen place in Osaka that you have to deposit 10,000 yen, so around $80 as a bill, and they'll hang it in the fridge until you finish up the whole thing, right? Eating the whole meal is a way to show respect. I find a lot of people from other countries that like cherry picking a little bit
right now. And well, they are absolutely taking it to the max. To be specific, this far-right movement within Japan has actually been sweeping the nation over the past year, but has only been amplified due to the influx of tourists. Now, Japan and many other Asian countries are infamous for not being too kind to foreigners, but there has been a mass increase of reports from foreigners within Japan detailing the increased racism that they are experiencing because of the rise of the far right. Many shops are now flat out putting signs saying no foreigners, no black people, Japanese only, which was once the irregularity but is now becoming the normality. And of course, as you can imagine, some people have actually called the police in these instances, and of course the police don't do anything. This is not the West. So please, if you are a foreigner or someone that is obviously not Japanese and you're planning to go to Japan, be aware of this new fact. Be aware of the sociopolitics that's clearly happening and affecting the country. And for your sake, plan ahead.
This just in. Well, soon you probably won't be even allowed to go to Japan. Let me explain. Japan's right-wing party has been growing significantly over the past few months. And just recently, they have even requested all press in their country to send the press people's personal details to the right-wing leader to affirm and to confirm whether they will or will not go against the party. So basically, they're getting rid of freedom of the press. And they are also talking about kicking out foreign workers from Japan. And they are saying that Japanese women need to be more with Japanese men. It is absolutely crazy. The right-wing party is a scary, strong, fast-growing party. And Japan's prime minister is not happy about it. And his popularity is dropping while the right wing is increasing.
My recent post about Sanseito and not being that worried about them has brought a lot of critics, a lot of Japanese people in the comments saying that Japan should be for Japanese and foreigners need to respect this and that. Okay, if you kicked every single foreigner out of Japan, like snapped your fingers and everybody was gone, myself and everyone else included. Heck, let's throw in mixed race, throw in everyone that's not pure Japanese, kick them all out, and repatriate every single Japanese person who's now living abroad. Sorry, Otani, you're gonna have to come home. Bring them all back to Japan, right? What would happen? What would happen if that were to occur? The Japanese economy would collapse within minutes, seconds, not seconds, minutes, within a day. Okay, and I'm not exaggerating. Look at almost every single bank in Japan. Who's in their IT department that's running the whole show? Without the IT people in the back office making the banks work, the banks won't work. Insurance companies. I work with a company, MetLife. There's over 500 people in IT in MetLife, and more than half of them are foreigners. Most of those foreigners are Indian and Chinese, some Korean as well. Very few Americans, but just saying, if you got rid of every single one of those people, MetLife would shut down. Same thing with Indeed Japan, where almost 100% of the back office engineers are foreigners who speak no Japanese at all, none. Mercari, Rakuten, Amazon, all of the major life insurance companies, all of the major e-commerce companies, every single one of them would shut down within a day if they had no foreigners to run it. They could try to hire Japanese to replace them, and maybe over a couple of years, they might come close, but it would never run at the same level of performance. I don't know why that is, and you can speculate as to why that is, but I guarantee you that this would not be something they could replace within a month or two. It would absolutely devastate the Japanese economy. So stop talking about foreigners, how we're like a bother to the Japanese economy and we're a drag on the Japanese economy. We all earn wages, we all pay taxes. More than half of the money I make goes into the coffers, and guess what? That money is paying for somebody's grandma to get health care. Hey, I hope that money will be there for me when I'm 80 years old in Japan, which is probably going to happen. But, stop pretending like foreigners in Japan are some kind of burden. They're not. We're helping Japan. We're keeping the place running, okay? I know a lot of us don't understand Japanese culture and don't, perhaps know every nuance of what rules, what side of the escalator to walk on, what Tokyo versus Osaka and things like that. But if you came to Canada, there's a lot of things that Japanese do in other countries that are way against the social norms of that country. And it's just part of life. Germans visiting the Czech Republic, Russians visiting Brazil. We don't always know every single nuance in the other countries. So stop pretending it's a unique problem for Japan. It's not.
So now you know that you are no longer welcome in Japan. But if you are at the misfortune of having your trip already booked, how is this going to affect you and what can you do now? In my recent video, we learned that foreigners are becoming increasingly less welcome in Japan due to the rise of the far right and the increase of far-right populism gaining incredible popularity throughout the nation. But now there are people in my comments wondering which foreigners are deemed okay and which foreigners are the ones that are going to be targeted. There's a common misconception that Japan's increase of anti-foreigner and anti-immigration sentiments is only geared and only affecting black people and those of darker skin tones. But you could not be more wrong. For example, within the last year alone, Joshua Thompson, a white British national that was born and raised in Japan, who by the way speaks fluent Japanese, was openly told foreigners not allowed when he was trying to rent a property. And this was despite having Japanese guarantors and literally having a permanent status in Japan. And again, white man who was fluent in Japanese. Another example would be a long-term white Irish expat who reported campaign signs laminating foreigners. This was directed towards all non-Japanese people, not just those of darker skin. He even said as an Irishman, he was wondering if he was being singled out. They say illegals, but it still stung. Now, obviously, let's not be silly. If you are a black person or someone with darker skin, you are more likely to be singled out and targeted, as reports have already shown this. But unfortunately for you and me, regardless of your skin tone, unless you are a Japanese native-born citizen, you are not exempt of being singled out and regarded as a foreigner. Now, this is not me saying not to visit the country, as it's a beautiful country that I'm sure we would all love to appreciate one day. But just like with America, I would be an idiot to feign ignorant and act as if there wasn't a heightened risk because of the rise of the far right within the nation of Japan right now. And mind you, with respect, Japan has always been kind of closed off to foreigners anyway. And so this increase of anti-foreigner sentiment only makes it all the more alarming for all of those who want to visit Japan anytime soon.
外国人差別は許しません。今、いろんな政治の問題を外国人のせいにする動きがあります。排外主義、外国人差別は許しません。同じように学校に通っていたり、職場で働いている在日外国人の皆さんは、私たちの地域で暮らす仲間です。外国人は優遇されていないし、外国人の皆さんが日本を出て行っても私たちの生活は良くなりません。本当の苦しさの原因は何なのか、失われた30年、それを作り出した自民党の政治、これを大元から変えることこそ私たちの安心して暮らせる、そういう社会を作ることができます。
So what you guys saw in that video, basically it's a short video of Japanese actually refusing foreign customers in restaurants and traditional bars. And not just traditional bars, but also places where they want just Japanese customers only. So this is becoming a normality now. And it's all because of the influencers and other foreigners that are not respecting laws. Pretty soon, Japanese people are just going to say enough. We're not going to have any more foreigners here on this land. It's going to be feudal Japan all over again. Foreigners are no longer allowed on our land. We're going to kick all of the foreigners off of our country of Japan. And it's definitely going to become ancient feudal Japan all over again. Where basically the Japanese are actually going to be cutting themselves off from the world. All because of the foreigners not willing to follow the rules. And it's not just the white people. It is mainly the black Negro communities too as well. And also other foreigners, white people, Karens that are wanting to take pictures of the geishas when the geishas don't even want to be taken pictured of. They want you to ask them first whether they're prepared to have their picture taken or video taken. This is the reason why Japanese people are now no longer wanting foreign customers to go into their stores. And pretty soon it's going to be all stores combined. Studio Ghibli, Sailor Moon, anime, all of the malls, all of the restaurants. And then pretty soon after that, they're just going to kick us all off, kick us all off, and just say no more foreigners. No more foreigners allowed on Japan. And it's going to be going back to ancient feudal Japan. And then Japan's going to have a feud with China and then all the other countries combined. And this is all because of the stupid ass. And I'm not just talking about the influencers. I'm talking about also the Karens, the people who do not respect the fucking laws. For one thing, you're not supposed to break a branch off of the cherry blossom tree Oh, I just want to take it as a souvenir gift. You can't. You can take a picture, but you cannot break a branch off the tree. Another person climbed up a goddamn tower of an old building from Japan. That is from their ancient history. That is older than them. Over 781 years old building. And a drunk-ass fucking man decided to climb up that building, destroyed the shingles on the roof that were there before he was even born. Way before he was even born. And not only destroyed the shingles, but part of the side of the building too as well decided fucking crumbled. This is my message to Japan. So, Japan, if you decide to cut us all off completely, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you for 1 second. I respect your guys' history, your guys' culture, your laws. I respect everything there is to be about Japan. I wouldn't blame you guys if you guys blocked us completely. But other than that,
First of all, if you are black, black American, Caribbean brothers and sisters, black breeds, African diaspora, I would say come and visit the continent, because in the first place, you're not gonna stand out. Okay, maybe your accent will, but not your skin tone. It's not gonna stand out. I want you to know that most of these countries that are predominantly not black, you stand out real quick. Now, I know that definitely you're not going to be venturing all over the continent all the time. That is okay. But I brought this just to also have a saying that I am going to pass out here. In my country, we have a saying that goes atunda ayolesa ya mazawa mango, which literally or directly translate to, if you expose what you are selling, you sell out real quick, right? And by me putting the continent and the motherland, on the exposure here, I am expecting a lot of people to see the continent and, give it a chance and come venture and, tour around. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you are not going to stand out. There's, especially when it comes to Asian countries, most of these people are very like backward, not in an insulting way, but kind of laid back, conservative, that some things that you think, especially coming from America, you think is normal, they might see it as abnormal. And also looking at someone that don't look like them, they have that conservative mindset of thinking someone is going to take my country away. That's why most of the time they actually blame foreigners for the issues that they are facing. But then you ask yourself, if we take foreigners away, like, what are you going to do different to change and make your country better? And you realize that in the most of the times, there's absolutely nothing. They just have that hate that is embedded in their DNA and mindset that they can't help it, right? But you as a melanated person, you stand out real quick. You see how they are saying no foreigners, but they are very specific. No N-word people, no afros. Sometimes they draw pictures of no people with afros, which tells you no black person is allowed. Now, of course, that is tied to a lot. There are some influencers that have gone to Asian countries and they have done the most. Some have been twerking and dancing on trains. And like I told you, some of these people come from a very conservative background. to them that might be disrespectful, and I think that goes to all the influencers, especially if you are visiting. Please make sure you know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, because otherwise you're going to leave a trail behind. You're going to cause these other people to look at all black people the same, because remember, they are not used to seeing black people. So if you go and act like a menace in that society, it is creating a picture of all, like it is painting that a picture that all black people behave like this. With that being said, not all black people behave like that, right? But the thing is, negativity always spreads way faster, and I think this is what we need to get. Negativity normally gains traction and gets a lot of energy and spread very fast. People normally ignore even the good black people that are just there to be tourists or work there, and they are not doing anything to disturb anybody. They normally ignore that and go with this. But also, with that being said, we are not going to ignore the fact that there is racism in most of these countries, and sometimes when tourists or foreigners visit these countries, they notice things and they expose them on the internet. And sometimes, when I tell you, some of these countries that come from the very conservative backgrounds, they don't want their skeletons to be put out there. They don't want that. So that is another way of trying to limit what is exposed and put out there. Besides those that go and disrespect their cultures, of course. But the bad habits that these people do, they don't want it to be talked about. They want to be known as, the perfect people. Meanwhile, they be busy crucifying other people because of, the bad experiences they normally have with others. But again, this is tied in, the political atmosphere. All of this is being pushed by the political, atmosphere that is happening. There's a far right, political party that is saying that, Japanese politics is supposed to be dominated by Japanese, which is okay. But there's just quite a lot of things they don't want to see. And it is quite unsettling and very shocking to me. Surprising, actually, because the Japanese population is aging like very, very quick, and they are not having kids anymore. I remember there is quite a videos that I saw, I think around 2023 or something like that, probably 2022, where, is it 2022 or 2024, where Japan wanted to pay black men to go and make their women pregnant because they were not having kids anymore. So I can only imagine a population that is aging, but then they don't want anybody else to come into their country, right? So how are you going to maintain your economy? That is something else, because if you don't want other people, the older generations are not going to be doing the work, so the country is going to collapse. I think Japan needs to recognize that the foreigners, not all foreigners are doing bad things, and people that are working there, that are elevating their country, should not be punished because of the actions of a few people. Because if you are talking about getting rid of all foreigners, right, what about the foreigners, your own people that are in other countries, right? I was talking about how the world is becoming a global village and we are learning to live with each other. There are so many Japanese even here in Uganda. There's just so many Asians, right? And there are so many of them even in America, in Canada, in the UK, everywhere, right? And they are I understand that even these other countries, the West itself is actually trying to get rid. I think this really goes to show you that the world is getting more chaotic. To be honest, is getting more chaotic in a way that you realize Australia doesn't want culturalism. Same thing Japan is talking about. I haven't heard about China yet, but something that UK is talking about, something that Donald Trump is doing, something that is being talked about in Canada. So there's just more chaos, but I'm thinking about the fact that there's just so many other Asian people and Japanese, to be specific, in all these other countries. What do you expect these people to be treated as if you are trying to treat the foreigners that come in your country poorly and you don't want them in your country, right? And from the statistics, it shows that actually Japan also functions a lot on money collected from tourism. So I don't know what they are going to do about this, especially if the money from tourism stops coming in, and especially if they get rid of all, the foreigners. But still, I want to emphasize this as a black person, know that you stand out like more. White people don't have any problem with white people. They might say that we don't want foreigners, but the target audience is very clear, that it is not specifically them, even if they are talking about the Karens, because Karens are a big problem. Karens, wherever they go, they will always be Karens, yeah. And they don't want such white people like that. But for the most part, white people don't stand out because everybody wants to be like white people. Everyone is welcoming of them. But when it comes to you, you have to watch out. And I want to conclude this segment by asking those of you that are in Japan, I don't know if the tension is felt from the comment sections that I was reading. It looks like the tension is really not there, even if in the media everything is, spreading and people are spreading awareness. I think it would still be better for people to spread awareness. So before you go there, you plan in advance and do and take all the necessary precautions and learn the rules, learn to respect the rules of whatever country that you go to, and know that you might, meet these people and they behave differently. It does not mean, yeah, don't assume. But again, you have to be careful of what you expose out there on the media, especially if you are in a foreign country. It is very nice to alert and inform people. It's very good, but you have to know where you are at. Rest, you just put your life in danger just because you want to collect the views. That is the news when it comes to you that want to go and visit the Naruto land, the Sasuke. Yes, the world of anime, that is out there, especially to you, my people that want to travel, because the political atmosphere in the US is getting, shaky and really not good. Yeah, I think these are some of the things that you need to consider, especially if you're black. Consider some countries that are black friendly, where you're not going to stand out, and where you're safe. And yeah, but Japan is a beautiful country. I've never been there, but quite a lot of people want to go there. I think I have a lot on my priority, but I think for me for today, that's it. I would like to see you guys in another amazing video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. I love all of you. And until then, my name is Gracie. Bye.